Unexpected encounter. The exploration vessel Magellan drifted through the inky void of space, venturing further into the unknown depths of the universe than any human had gone before. Captain Elena Vasquez stood on the bridge, her eyes fixed on the viewscreen displaying a dazzling field of stars. For months, they had traversed the cosmos, searching for signs of intelligent life. Little did they know, first contact was about to happen. Suddenly, the ship's sensors blared an urgent alert. "Captain, we're detecting an unknown vessel approaching at high velocity," the tactical officer reported, his voice tense. Elena furrowed her brow. "Hail them." Silence hung in the air for several moments before a deep, guttural voice filled the bridge. "Identify yourselves, intruders." The view screen flickered to life, revealing a bizarre alien creature with leathery green skin, 4 glowing red eyes, and sharp, jagged teeth. Elena stepped forward, maintaining a calm demeanor despite the unsettling appearance of the alien. "I am Captain Elena Vasquez of the Earth ship Magellan. We come in peace, seeking to establish friendly relations with other civilizations." The alien's eyes narrowed. "You have violated Zorgan space. Prepare to be boarded and enslaved." Before Elena could respond, a searing beam of energy slammed into the Magellan's shields, rocking the ship violently. Alarms blared as the crew scrambled to their stations. "Shields down to 60%. The tactical officer shouted. "They're launching boarding pods." Elena gritted her teeth. "Activate point defense systems. Prepare to repel boarders." As the crew fought bravely against the Zorgan invaders, Elena realized the terrible truth. This was no misunderstanding, but a deliberate attack. The Zorgans were hostile, and Earth was now in grave danger. Outnumbered and outgunned, the Magellan barely managed to escape, limping back to Earth with a handful of survivors and a dire warning. The Zorgans were coming, and humanity needed to prepare for the fight of their lives. Humanity prepares. News of the Zorgan attack spread like wildfire across Earth. Fear and panic gripped the planet as the realization sank in. They were not alone in the universe, and their cosmic neighbors were far from friendly. In an unprecedented show of unity, Earth's nations put aside their differences and came together to face the alien threat. Dr. Lena Sorensen, Earth's leading expert on advanced technologies, was tasked with analyzing the data gathered from the Magellan's encounter. She worked tirelessly with a team of brilliant scientists and engineers to reverse engineer the captured Zorgan technology. "This is unlike anything we've ever seen," Lena marveled as she examined a piece of the alien ship's hull. "The alloys, the energy systems, it's centuries ahead of our own tech. But if we can understand it, we might stand a chance." As Lena and her team raced against the clock, Earth's militaries began to mobilize. Power-armored soldiers trained in new tactics, while massive orbital defense platforms were hastily constructed. The United Earth Space Fleet, once a distant dream, now became a reality as sleek, advanced warships rolled off the assembly lines. Amidst the frenzied preparations, Captain Elena Vasquez recovered from her injuries and was promoted to admiral. She took command of the newly formed First Contact Fleet, determined to make the Zorgans pay for their unprovoked attack. As Earth braced for invasion, Elena and Lena hatched a daring plan. They would send an elite strike team deep into Zorgan space to gather intelligence and strike at the heart of their empire. It was a risky gambit, but it could buy Earth precious time and perhaps even turn the tide of the coming war. Volunteers for the mission were not hard to find. Every member of the strike team had lost someone to the Zorgans, and they were all eager for payback. As they boarded their state-of-the-art stealth ship, the Spectre, Elena addressed her crew. "We're going to hit the Zorgans where they least expected," she said, her voice filled with steely determination. "We'll show them what happens when they mess with humanity. We'll show them that we will never back down, never surrender. We'll fight to our last breath, and we will prevail." With a resounding cheer, the Spectre launched into the void, carrying the hopes and dreams of an entire planet on its shoulders. The war had begun, and humanity was ready to fight. Infiltration and sabotage. The Spectre glided silently through the void, its advanced stealth systems rendering it virtually invisible to Zorgan sensors. On board, the strike team prepared for their most daring mission yet, infiltrating a heavily guarded Zorgan military installation. Sergeant Kai Takahashi checked his power armor for the 100th time, ensuring that every system was functioning perfectly. Beside him, Corporal Avarici calibrated her plasma rifle, the weapon's soft hum filling the air. "All right, listen up," Kai said, his voice cutting through the tension. "We get in, we get the intel, we plant the charges, and we get out. Quick and clean. And if we encounter any Zorgans, we show them what happens when you mess with humanity." The team nodded grimly, their faces etched with determination. They knew the risks, but they also knew what was at stake. The fate of Earth rested on their shoulders. As the Spectre approached the Zorgan installation, the true scale of the enemy's power became apparent. Massive twisted spires of alien metal rose from the asteroid's surface, bristling with weapons and defenses. It was a fortress, designed to withstand any assault. But the humans had a secret weapon. Dr. Lena Sorensen had reverse-engineered a Zorgan cloaking device, allowing the strike team to slip past the installation's defenses undetected. Once inside, the team moved swiftly, their power armor enhancing their strength and speed. They planted explosive charges at key structural points, aiming to cripple the installation's defenses and create a distraction for their real objective. Deep within the heart of the fortress, they discovered a horrifying truth. The Zorgans were not just conquerors, but slavers. Dozens of alien races, some never before seen by human eyes, languished in squalid cells, their spirits broken by the Zorgans' cruelty. Ava's heart clenched with anger as she saw the suffering inflicted upon these innocent beings. She turned to Kai, her eyes blazing with righteous fury. "We can't leave them here," she said, her voice trembling with emotion. Kai nodded, his jaw set with determination. "We won't. We'll free them, and we'll make the Zorgans pay for their crimes." The team set to work, hacking into the installation's security systems and unlocking the cells. As the prisoners streamed out, their eyes wide with disbelief and hope, Kai addressed them in a universal translation. "We are humans, and we're here to help. We'll get you out of here, but we need your help. If you know anything about the Zorgans, their weaknesses, their plans, we need to know." To their surprise, a tall, crystalline being stepped forward, its voice resonating with ancient wisdom. "I am Zuril of the Trahani. We have suffered under the Zorgans' tyranny for generations. But you, humans, have shown us that resistance is possible. We will fight with you, and together, we will break the chains of oppression." As the freed prisoners joined the strike team, planting charges and sabotaging Zorgan systems, a newfound sense of purpose filled the air. This was more than just a mission. It was the beginning of a revolution. With the installation crippled and valuable intelligence secured, the team made their escape, the Spectre vanishing into the void once more. They had struck a blow against the Zorgans and forged new alliances in the process. The tide was turning, and humanity's fight had only just begun. Turning the tide. News of the successful raid on the Zorgan installation spread like wildfire through the resistance networks. Across the galaxy, oppressed species looked to humanity as a beacon of hope, a shining example that the Zorgans were not invincible. On Earth, the strike team's return was met with jubilation and renewed determination. The intel they had gathered proved invaluable, revealing critical weaknesses in the Zorgan Empire's defenses. Dr. Lena Sorensen and her team worked around the clock, developing new weapons and technologies to exploit these vulnerabilities. Admiral Elena Vasquez wasted no time in launching a series of daring attacks on Zorgan outposts and supply lines. The United Earth Space Fleet, bolstered by the newly developed Zorgan-inspired technologies, struck with devastating precision. In one particularly audacious raid, Captain Mikhail Volkov led a squadron of stealth fighters in a deep penetration mission, targeting a Zorgan shipyard. The fighters, equipped with Dr. Sorensen's latest cloaking devices and EMP warheads, slipped past the Zorgan defenses undetected. Once in range, they unleashed a barrage of electromagnetic pulses, disabling the shipyard's power systems and leaving the half-constructed Zorgan warships dead in space. Mikhail and his pilots then launched a salvo of plasma torpedoes, reducing the helpless vessels to molten slag. As the fighters raced back to Earth, their hulls scorched and battered but their spirits unbroken, Mikhail couldn't help but feel a sense of pride. Humanity had shown the Zorgans that they were not to be underestimated. Back on Earth, the freed alien prisoners provided invaluable assistance to the human war effort. Zuril and his fellow Trahani, with their advanced understanding of crystalline technology, helped Dr. Sorensen develop a new type of shield generator that could withstand even the most powerful Zorgan weapons. Other species contributed their own unique skills and knowledge, from the Valteri, whose telepathic abilities allowed for instantaneous communication across vast distances, to the Naxarians, whose mastery of biotechnology led to the creation of self-repairing power armor. As the resistance grew in strength and numbers, the Zorgan Emperor, Exarthak, began to feel the pressure. His once unassailable empire was crumbling at the edges, and whispers of rebellion echoed through the halls of his palace. In a fit of rage, Exarthak ordered a massive counterattack, sending his most elite warriors to crush the human resistance once and for all. The resulting battle, fought in the skies above Earth, was one of the most intense and brutal engagements of the war. Zorgan warships, their hulls adorned with the scars of countless conquests, clashed with the sleek, advanced vessels of the United Earth Space Fleet. Plasma beams and fusion missiles criss-crossed the void, turning the heavens into a hellish tableau of destruction. At the heart of the battle, Admiral Vasquez led the charge, her flagship, the UES Leviathan, carving a path through the Zorgan lines. By her side, Mikhail, Kai, and Ava fought with unmatched skill and bravery, their power armor glinting in the light of exploding ships. In the end, through sheer determination and the power of their advanced technologies, the humans emerged victorious. The Zorgan fleet, once thought invincible, was shattered, its remnants fleeing back to their home system. The tide had turned, and the Zorgan Emperor now knew the bitter taste of defeat. But the war was far from over, and humanity still had one final push to make. The final push. In the aftermath of the great battle above Earth, the Resistance knew that they had to strike while the iron was hot. The Zorgan Empire was reeling, its aura of invincibility shattered. It was time to take the fight to the heart of the enemy's territory, to the Zorgan homeworld itself. Admiral Elena Vasquez gathered her allies, both human and alien, for a war council aboard the UES Leviathan. Representatives from a dozen species sat around the table, united by their shared desire to bring an end to Zorgan tyranny. "We've shown them that we can fight, and we can win," Elena said, her voice filled with quiet determination. "But the Zorgans won't give up easily. They'll fight to the last, and we need to be ready for anything." Zuril, the crystalline Trahani leader, spoke up, his voice resonating with wisdom. "The Zorgan homeworld is a fortress, protected by the most advanced defenses in the galaxy. But every fortress has its weaknesses. We must find them and exploit them." For days, the War Council pored over the intel gathered from the strike team's daring raids and the knowledge provided by their alien allies. They analyzed Zorgan battle tactics, studied the layout of their homeworld's defenses, and debated the best course of action. Finally, a plan began to take shape. The United Earth Space Fleet, augmented by the ships and warriors of their alien allies, would launch a massive assault on the Zorgan homeworld. At the same time, a small, elite strike team led by Kai, Ava, and Mikhail would infiltrate the planet's surface and sabotage its defenses from within. It was a risky gambit, but one that offered the best chance of success. And so, with a sense of grim determination, the Resistance set their plan into motion. The journey to the Zorgan homeworld was fraught with danger. The Emperor had recalled his remaining forces, concentrating them around his throne world in a desperate attempt to stave off the impending attack. But the resistance would not be deterred. As the Allied fleet dropped out of hyperspace on the fringes of the Zorgan system, they were met by a wall of enemy ships, their hulls bristling with weapons. The battle that ensued was like nothing the galaxy had ever seen. Massive dreadnoughts, their hulls adorned with the scars of countless battles, exchanged broadsides at point-blank range. Swarms of fighters danced and weaved through the chaos, their pilots pushing themselves to the brink of human endurance. And at the heart of it all, the UES Leviathan and its counterparts from a dozen alien species fought with unmatched skill and determination. On the planet's surface, Kai, Ava, and Michael fought their way through the labyrinthine corridors of the Zorgan Palace, their power armor deflecting the enemy's blows and their weapons cutting through the Emperor's elite guard. They battled past genetically engineered monstrosities and automated defenses, never once faltering in their resolve. As the palace's defenses crumbled and the Emperor's guard lay broken at their feet, the strike team finally confronted Axarthak himself. The Zorgan ruler was a towering figure, his body encased in an exoskeleton of living metal and his 4 eyes burning with malevolent intelligence. "You think you've won?" Axarthak sneered, his voice dripping with contempt. "You are nothing, primates. I will crush you beneath my heel and hang your bodies from the spires of my palace." But Kai, Ava, and Michael were not intimidated. They had faced death 100 times and emerged victorious. They had fought for the freedom of countless species and the survival of their own. They would not back down. Not now, not ever. And so, with a final defiant roar, they charged forward, their weapons blazing and their hearts filled with the indomitable spirit of humanity. Confronting the Emperor, in the heart of the Zorgan Palace, Axarthak's throne room, was a cavernous expanse of twisted metal and pulsing energy. The Emperor himself sat upon a dais of black stone, his exoskeleton pulsing with malevolent power. As Kai, Ava, and Michael approached, the Emperor rose to his full height, his 4 eyes burning with hatred. "You dare to challenge me in my own domain?" he roared, his voice shaking the very foundations of the palace. "I am Axarthak, the eternal, the unconquered. I have ground 1,000 species beneath my heel, and yours will be no different." But the strike team was undaunted. They had come too far, fought too hard, to be intimidated by the Emperor's bluster. Kai stepped forward, his plasma rifle leveled at Axarthak's chest. "Your reign of terror ends here, Axarthak," Kai said, his voice steady and filled with conviction. "We are the voice of every species you have enslaved, every world you have plundered, and we will not rest until you are brought to justice." With a roar of fury, Axarthak launched himself at the strike team, his exoskeleton's blade-like appendages slicing through the air. Kai, Ava, and Michael scattered, their power armor barely deflecting the Emperor's blows. The battle that followed was like nothing the strike team had ever experienced. Axarthak was a whirlwind of destruction, his speed and strength far beyond anything they had faced before. But the humans were not alone. As they fought, the palace shook with the impact of orbital bombardment. The United Earth Space Fleet, having broken through the Zorgan defenses, was raining down fire on the Emperor's stronghold. And from the shadows, the freed alien prisoners emerged, their own powers and abilities turned against their former master. Zuril, the crystalline Trahani, unleashed a barrage of razor-sharp shards that shattered against Axarthak's exoskeleton. The Valteri, their telepathic powers amplified by the heat of battle, assaulted the Emperor's mind with visions of his own defeat. And the Naxarians, their biotechnology merged with the strike team's armor, lent their strength and resilience to the humans' cause. Slowly, inexorably, the tide began to turn. Axarthak's exoskeleton, once thought invulnerable, began to crack and splinter under the relentless onslaught. His movements grew sluggish, his blows less precise. And then, with a final, desperate lunge, Kai drove his plasma blade through the Emperor's chest. Xarthak staggered back, his four eyes widening in disbelief as he clutched at the wound. "No," he gasped, his voice a gurgling whisper. "I am immortal. I cannot be defeated." But even as he spoke, the Emperor's exoskeleton began to crumble, revealing the withered, decrepit form within. Kai stood over him, his armor battered but his spirit unbroken. "For millennia, you have sought glory and conquest. Now you plead for mercy," he said. "You who have shown none. There will be no mercy for you, Xarthak. Only justice, cold and relentless." With a final, shuddering breath, the Emperor of the Zorgans, the terror of 1,000 worlds, passed from the realm of the living. And as he died, a great cry went up from the palace, a cry that was echoed across the planet and beyond. The Zorgan Empire, the scourge of the galaxy, had fallen at last, and in its place, a new hope had risen, a hope forged in the unbreakable spirit of humanity and the indomitable will of all those who had suffered under the Emperor's reign. A new era. In the aftermath of Xarthak's defeat, the Zorgan Empire crumbled like a house of cards. Without the Emperor's iron will to hold it together, the Zorgan's vast dominion fractured into 1,000 squabbling factions, each vying for power in the new order. But the United Earth Space Fleet and its allies would not allow the galaxy to descend into chaos. Under Admiral Elena Vasquez's leadership, they moved swiftly to secure key strategic points and establish lines of communication with the newly freed worlds. On the Zorgan homeworld, Kai, Ava, and Mikhail oversaw the dismantling of the Emperor's war machine. The once mighty factories that had churned out the tools of oppression were repurposed, their resources and technology turned towards the cause of rebuilding and renewal. Across the galaxy, the freed species began to forge new alliances, bound together by their shared experience of suffering and their desire for a better future. Trade routes were established, cultural exchanges were initiated, and slowly but surely, the wounds of the past began to heal. Earth, too, was changed by the war. The old rivalries and divisions that had once seemed so important now paled in comparison to the challenges they have faced together. A new sense of unity and purpose swept the planet as humanity turned its gaze towards the stars. In the grand halls of the newly established Galactic Council, delegates from 100 species gathered to chart a course for the future. And at the center of it all stood the heroes of the Resistance: Elena, Kai, Ava, Mikhail, and their alien allies. They knew that the road ahead would not be easy. The scars left by the Zorgan Empire would take generations to heal, and new threats would undoubtedly arise to challenge the fragile peace they had won. But they also knew that they had the strength and the will to face whatever challenges lay ahead. For they had seen the depths of cruelty and the heights of courage, and they had emerged stronger for it. They had forged unbreakable bonds of friendship and alliance, and they had proven that no tyranny, no matter how powerful, could stand against the united will of free peoples. And so, as the galaxy looked to the future with newfound hope and determination, the heroes of the Resistance stood tall and proud, ready to lead the way into a new era of peace, prosperity, and endless possibility. For they were the guardians of freedom, the champions of justice, and the embodiment of the indomitable human spirit. And as long as they stood together, no force in the universe could stand against them.